Welcome to this week's episode of the Baseball Together podcast. This week we have Bob Melvin getting a new job, PETA's making some noise, and we're still going on with the World Series.
9+ Us presents the Baseball Together podcast with your hosts, Blackjack Brad and Kansas City Little Big Briggy Blue Eyes. And now, Baseball Together.
Welcome again to this week's episode of the Baseball Together podcast, baseball family. I am Brad, and on the right, we already have Brig with the church giggles, starting things off early.
Oh, man. Hello, baseball family. Woo!
All right, Brig, we got a lot. There's a lot this week. I'm actually surprised at how much there is. I think I said that last week too, but legitimately so surprised this week how much there was.
Yeah.
Let's start with this. Bob Melvin, who, for those of you who don't know, managed the A's this last season and several seasons before. He signed a 3-year deal with the Padres. I did not see that coming at all.
Nope. No.
And because we talked last week about Mike Schilt, right?
Yeah, not just Mike Schilt, but we threw out other names. But yes, Mike Schilt left St. Louis, and we were like, oh, God, why would you not do that? But apparently they have reasons to not do that. I wonder what's going on with Mike.
I don't know. But, I mean, Bob Melvin is a great choice. He's a very good manager. He did a pretty good job in Seattle. I don't want to say he did a great job, but he did a pretty good job. So,
yep.
So that he's got that going for him, which is nice. But
Cinderella boy.
But somebody else who actually I saw this. Somebody else who interviewed for that position was Ozzy Guillen.
Really?
That surprised me above everything with the way things ended for him. Was it in Miami?
I think it was.
Yeah, it's like
that's shocking. Where's Buck Showalter? Is he interviewing anywhere?
I don't know. I think Buck Showalter's on a beach somewhere, honestly. I don't know how concerned he is with managing baseball these days.
He'll answer if they call, but if they don't call, he doesn't care.
So, Brig, I have this here. Bob Melvin got to Oakland in 2011.
Yeah.
So he, the A's have been good, right?
Yeah, solid. Super solid.
Playoff contenders every single year. I don't know that I would necessarily qualify them as World Series contenders every year, but definitely contending for the playoffs. This year they were one of. I think people had them contending with the Astros this year for the division.
That's kind of what we thought. If you remember, like we were in that group for sure.
Yeah, they had that infield, and I think that might be part of the reason that they split.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Could be.
It's very, very interesting.
And this is one of those things that I'm just waiting to see what's going to happen. Like we can make any predictions we want, but there's going to be some chemistry things. There's some storylines at play. It's just going to be interesting, like you said.
Yeah. So check this out real quick. He has a .514 winning percentage as a manager. 528 with the A's.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
498 with the Diamondbacks for 5 seasons with the Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
2 seasons with the Mariners. They won 93 games his first year and then 63 his second, and he was gone. So he's 481 with the Mariners. That's really what drags his winning percentage down is that second season with the Mariners because that was pretty bad.
Pretty bad. What year was that?
That was 2003 and 2004. That was the Mariners were really trying to catch lightning in a bottle again after 2001 at that point. Just trying to find the right guy because Lou Piniella left after the 2002 season, and then they were trying to find the next guy who could get him back up, and it just hasn't happened. It was burning through managers there for a while.
Yeah.
Bob Melvin happened to be the first one.
Sorry, guy.
But what do you do? That's baseball.
That's right.
All right, so let's talk about one of our other favorite people. Tongue firmly in cheek there.
Tongue firmly, yeah, exactly.
Rob
this
Manfred.
guy.
Oh, Rob, this guy.
Oh,
get a load of this guy. So he was asked about the Braves and their team name and the Tomahawk Chop and everything. There was just like a whole bunch of stuff because he has media availability before the World Series, so they just kind of burned through a bunch of topics with him. This happened to be one of them, and his response was basically that Major League Baseball doesn't market the game nationally. It's a regional sport, and they need to fill stadiums, so they focus their marketing efforts regionally, and that is why they get to keep the name Braves and the Tomahawk Chop because it resonates locally.
There's a lot to unpack there, my friend.
There's a whole lot to unpack there. It's insane to me.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, let's just stick with this, the whole regional thing. Like, okay, I've made the argument in the past. I don't know if I've made this argument on this podcast before about how it's kind of a good thing that baseball is a regional thing, because when you see somebody who, like, if I'm wearing my Seattle Mariners shirt and I'm out on the town or like a hat, somebody's going to say something because it's odd to see somebody wearing a Mariners hat in Phoenix, right?
Yep, for sure.
So it does prompt some conversation, but overall, like, the only reason I know guys who play for the Marlins or the Braves, for that matter, is because I follow the game as closely as I do. I don't blame anybody. I don't blame anybody for not knowing who plays on those teams if they're on the West Coast, because Major League Baseball doesn't market them to people on the West Coast.
That's and for the record, I have 2 points to bring up before you move on. One, until I met you, I thought it was odd to see somebody wearing a Seattle Mariners hat as well, and it didn't matter where I was.
I'm a Mariners fan. I think it's odd too. I'll be honest with you. Unless I'm in Seattle and I see somebody wearing a Mariners hat, it's odd.
You're like, what is wrong with you?
No. Why? Are you a leftover Griffey fan? You're a leftover Griffey fan, right?
Yeah. Are we kindred spirits? Did we just become best friends?
Pretty much. Yeah. I've actually said that. I brought that up in a job interview one time. We were talking, and baseball came up. Oh, really? Who's your team? I'm a Mariners fan. Oh, really? Me too. It is in Idaho. I was like, why are you a Mariners fan? He's like, I liked Griffey, man.
Griffey. The end. That's why a lot of Chipper Jones fans exist in the West as well, because TBS was available in the 90s.
Yep. Chipper Jones, one of my top 5 favorite players ever.
Me too, man.
Legit because of TBS. Yep.
So, okay. All right. So the number 2 thing I want to bring up is it takes us a lot of time and effort to dig up stuff that we don't naturally follow, that doesn't come up in our algorithm-based stuff and whatever. So that's why I was just going to reinforce that. Like, yeah, of course you don't know who the heck we're talking about sometimes, but that's why when we think it's relevant, we'll bring it to your attention. Otherwise, there's way too much information. We couldn't talk about it all if we wanted to. And getting a hold of it is even harder. So we're with you. We got it. It's okay.
Yeah. It is. And it's a problem. It really is a problem because there are great players around the league. Like, how many casual baseball fans know about Jazz Chisholm?
Nobody.
Not nearly enough, if any.
Well, and
then
if it
on the
weren't
other
for
hand, on the other hand, let's go to a different sport. How many football fans know who DK Metcalf is? Every stinking buddy. And
I don't know who he is.
Well, you're not an NFL fan, though.
That's true.
So, and this is the thing, is that his career has basically boiled down. He's a receiver, and his career has basically boiled down to one defensive play. He chased down somebody like 90 yards on a pick to make a tackle.
Oh.
So, and that's the thing, is like, people know who he is. He's been a good receiver, not great, but he plays for Seattle. There's no reason for 90% of the country to pay attention to what the Seattle Seahawks are doing. Yet, nonetheless, they know who DK Metcalf is because he's a physical specimen. He's huge, and he plays in the NFL, so they market their players to the country.
That's 100% true.
The MLB does not market Jazz Chisholm to the rest of the country when they should be. He's an exciting player. He's a great player to watch.
You know who else is exciting is Luis Garcia, the rookie pitcher for Houston right now.
Yes, he's the one who has that rock, dude, right?
He does the baby carry.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if it weren't for the platform, nobody'd know who he was.
No.
Not just because he's a rookie, but because he plays for Houston and he's brand new and all that other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's fortunate that we have the platform we have with the playoffs and the World Series because that dude is lights out. He's literally amazing. I have
he's
seen
a problem.
He's a problem constantly. I have seen very few pitchers that I would consider must see TV, and this dude is must see TV every time, 100% of the time.
Yeah, and that is a problem that Major League Baseball has now, is going to continue to have going into the future, if they continue to have this really small-minded view of how they need to market their game. You can market your game regionally while marketing it nationally.
Yes, and you have to do both.
Yeah. That they have marketing dollars that clearly are not being spent, that are probably being pocketed rather than growing the game. And here's the thing: if they spent the money, there would just be more and more of it.
There would be. And then you add that to the Nike deals and the Reebok deals and all the Adidas stuff and all this, especially the new Nike uniforms and everything. Come on.
Yep.
Man, It's just such an under-resourced opportunity, and it sucks.
It's really frustrating to see, because I feel like, I don't want to go in the 90s, but in the 90s, I felt like it was marketed nationally. Like ESPN hardly covers baseball anymore. They got rid of Baseball Tonight. It is a seasonal show that is on, I think it's only on ESPN Plus now.
That's right. And you have to go to the MLB network to get a hold of 24/7 baseball.
Yep. Yeah, because you're really not getting it with ESPN. SportsCenter this weekend was tweeting out memes that have been dead for 4 years, rather than tweeting out or posting about the World Series.
Really?
Yeah.
After some of the most exciting baseball we've seen in 3 years?
Yep.
That is insane. So,
yeah.
To your point, though, they're doing a terrible job. And I think that people are losing faith. Like the public awareness and the greater consciousness is bored and losing focus.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Well,
it's not okay, but it is what it is.
This is the other problem that it has, though, is that you have fans of teams in markets where their team is bad. Like, Phoenix is kind of a melting pot. People come from all over. A lot of people come from California. There's a lot of Dodgers and Angels fans here. So I see fans from a lot of teams around here. But like, I would imagine that in Arlington, there's not a whole lot of people watching baseball. Like,
it's
during
literally
the season,
across the street from the Cowboy Stadium.
Yeah.
The old one was, anyway.
That come August, these people are watching preseason football, and they're checked out because the Rangers are bad, and they don't have some other avenue to get their baseball fixed. There's not something else being put into their lap, because Major League Baseball is like, well, it's a regional sport. You have the Rangers. So there's the problem. There's the real problem to me.
One more drop in the bucket for old Rob being a failure.
Yeah.
But I love when he screws up and admits to it. It's so much fun in a very cynical, satirical way. It's like, thanks, man. Thanks for admitting that you're completely incompetent and apathetic about
the problem
everything.
is that he doesn't see a problem with it. That's like the weird thing to me. That he's like, well, we're regional. That's just it's the charm of the sport. But it's not good for it.
No, you have to do both, bud.
Yeah.
Sorry, excuse me. That was his predecessor. You have to do both, my friend. Because if you don't, you're going to be in trouble. What happens when the Rangers don't continue to play into the playoffs? What happens to broadcast money? What happens to merchandising? What happens to all this stuff? And if you allow your teams in those regions to be perpetually bad and be under-resourced and underutilize their talent pool and all this other stuff, because there's no salary cap and there's no profit sharing, there's none of that. Like, this dude literally has his work cut out for him starting in the next 7 days.
Yeah. Yes, he does. And
wish we had more faith in him.
We could go on a whole thing with like the TV broadcast rights and the ratings and things like that, but I think we've gone on long enough with this as it is. But it really is a major problem that needs to be addressed, and could eventually be one of the reasons that he is asked to step down. eventually.
Oh, I'm asking him.
We've asked him several times, but I
Let's
think
do it
eventually,
again.
I think eventually the owners are going to get fed up and they're going to ask him to step down because they're missing out on a lot of money by him saying that.
Wouldn't you love to sit down with Brian Cashman or somebody like that and be like, what do you really think of Rob Manfred? Like, what do you really think?
Yes, off the record conversation.
I just would
if
kill
there
for
are
that,
any
man.
Major League Baseball executives out there listening right now, we would love to have an off the record conversation with you. We will not record it. We will not reiterate anything. We're just curious.
We just got to know, like, what's the draw, man? Like, we're all in business, right? We're all out to make sure that us and our people benefit, right? That's like in baseball, that's where it's at. If you're in the front office, your whole job is to make sure that you and the team succeed. And in order for that to happen, you got to make sure your fan base succeeds too. You would think, okay,
Yeah.
but if you are beholden by a guy like Rob Manfred and supporting him in some way, even if you're the only one who is, or you're the only one who's not, like, it doesn't matter to me. I want to figure out why. What are the nuances there? I do not understand why we're allowing somebody who's clearly bad for the game, bad for its longevity, bad for its legacy, to say stupid things like this on television or in press releases that are we're only going to market regionally. You know why? Because we're a regional sport. That's the charm. Quit spinning it, Rob. Quit. What he should have said was, we understand that there's a problem with our national advertising stuff. We know that we struggle to get our message outside of its regionality. What we need to do is take this off season and focus on that. And in fact, because I have that awareness, I have assembled a crack team led by, I don't know, Ken Griffey Jr. or whatever, to do something just like that. Remember, we hired him a couple of weeks ago. Well, the special project we've put him in charge of is marketing baseball extra regionally. That's what we need to do. And I understand that you're concerned. We're concerned as well. We are taking steps to address it. How about in 3 to 4 months, we revisit that and we'll give you a progress report?
You should do PR for baseball, Brig.
I mean, it's not super rocket science, dude. It's like, dude, it's just like in the military. You get asked a question. You say, you know what? I do not know the answer to that, but I know who to ask. I know which reg to look into, and I know how to get the answer. I will have it to you by X date.
There you go.
It's simple, man. Yes,
it is
we
simple.
recognize that's a problem. If we didn't recognize it was a problem, that's a problem.
Therein lies the initial problem.
Well, no, seriously, if you're in a press conference and you're Rob Manfred and you say, what, I would turn it right around on the reporters. I'd be like, why do you see that as a problem? Well, yeah, I do, blah, blah, blah. Well, tell me more about that. Right?
Yeah.
What would you do about it? Can we get offline
find
later
out why
and you
it's a
tell me what
problem.
you think? Yeah. I understand we don't have time to talk about it now, but I'd love to address this offline. I have an open door policy. I'm just saying, it's not hard to get the feedback loop to start looping. God, he makes me so mad.
You're right.
It's
It's frustrating. And we as fans have dealt with this for, been 6 years now? It's insane.
Far too long.
It's absolute insanity. And it's really frustrating because we don't want to see a world where baseball takes, it's taken a backseat to the NFL. It's taken a backseat to the NBA, which is frustrating because the NBA's ratings are down. And I hate to say it, but I would hate to see baseball take a backseat to hockey as well. And soccer, because soccer's on the rise.
It's on the rise, man.
It could happen, and it would be very frustrating to see that happen, because then it would be like you'd be the weird baseball fan instead of like, yeah, baseball fan, right on, But
anyway, let's move on. But let me say this: this is my parting shot. Here we are in the middle of the World Series, and we're having this conversation. If that's the case, something's broken. The end.
Yeah,
let's move on.
There you go, spot on, nail on the head. Okay. So there's a lawsuit going on, a class action lawsuit. A bunch of minor league baseball players are suing Major League Baseball, saying that they've been paid less than minimum wage for long enough. And they're right.
Not just at all. We're just fed up. That's it.
Yeah.
Well, that's fair.
And I saw this today that the players are going to use a tweet sent out by Mets owner Steve Cohen. This tweet was August 1st of this year. Are you ready for this, Brig? This is the exact tweet. I copied and pasted this here. It says, education time. Baseball draft picks are worth up to 5 times their slot value to clubs. I never shy away from investments that can make me that type of return. Yeah, no, they stand no chance. We might see another reorganization of minor league baseball because they're going to have to pay their players.
Yep.
That's damning. That's
it's
so
damning.
bad.
I can see this turning, like you said, I can see this turning into single A, double A, triple A done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's all we have. We don't have multiples. Yep. We don't have lower and higher. We don't have short and long. None. It's over.
Yeah. Yeah. A ball is short season. You go to double A, you go to triple A. And I don't know.
And that would be so sad.
It would be, because I don't know what that would do to the Arizona Summer League, the Dominican Summer League, because those are important. And this is the thing that I've said for years, is that the reason the product at the major league level is so much better than it is at the college level, is because of all those different levels those guys have to go through. That you watch college football on Saturday, you watch NFL on Sunday, you can see the differences, but there are guys on the college football field on Saturday who within 9 months are going to be on an NFL field. That is never the case. Well, rarely the case with college baseball. There is a stark difference between watching college baseball and Major League Baseball, and I've seen it firsthand, even with college baseball and low-level minor league baseball.
Rookie ball, yeah, for sure.
I've sat through 4-hour college games because those guys couldn't get out, and then 3 weeks later sat through a 2.5-hour rookie league game because those guys can't hit the pitching because it's too good. You know?
Yeah, same guys.
It's the same guys,
yeah.
All those guys are the exact same age, and it is a stark difference because they have to improve through the different levels of the minor league system. And it would be a bummer because the top level product would suffer, but if they end up having to pay them more, that could be one of the results of it.
And that would be a shame. But I wonder if we'd see more offshoots or breakaways like we did in the Pioneer League, right? They're just like, okay, cool.
Yeah, more
we're going to go
independent.
You know, we're going to maintain our own sovereignty, and we're going to provide the community with the entertainment value that they seek. And we're also going to, we're going to feed the Major League pipeline for sure. But we're going to do our own development. We're going to create our own jobs, stuff like that. I think that's totally possible. It's just going to take some serious cojones to do that, like they've got in the Pioneer League. And without that, it's not going to happen. So we need some real heavy hitters, some dedicated people to come in and ensure that these communities retain baseball. And I'm all about that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it would be great to have more of the independent stuff because, I mean, most of those leagues are not going to fold just because they don't necessarily, I don't want to say because they don't want to, but they don't have to. Like you said, with the Pioneer League, they didn't have to fold. They just took it in a different direction.
Yeah.
And it provides a different entertainment value. It provides more of a community feel for those independent leagues, for those small communities that typically have those low-level minor league teams. It gives them a way to be more part of the game, I guess. Like we might see more Savannah Banana style baseball across the country if we see more independent baseball.
We could.
So,
and there's a tremendous desire for that type of baseball.
Yes, there is.
Like there is. Anyway, more to follow. Baseball.
There is, and that is scheduled for a hearing on June 1st of next year. So that's something that we're gonna have to. I'm gonna put that in my calendar to follow up and see what happened with that because I'm very curious how that thing goes.
Moi aussi, mon frère. For all of you that parlay the Français.
I have no idea what you just said. Anyway.
Très bien, brah.
There you go. Okay. Let's talk about Gold Gloves and Silver Sluggers real quick. So the finalists were announced for each of these. Let's go Gold Gloves first. We're going to go through the American League. So there are 3 finalists announced. 3. They'll get my fingers there on screen.
That's it. 3 strikes, you're out. 3 finalists, you're done. That's it.
There you go. Yes. For each position. The winners will be announced on November the 7th. So after the World Series is over.
Correct. That's the day before my birthday.
Day before your birthday. That's right. It is.
Oh, yeah.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So real quick, let's go through this. American League, we have pitchers. We have Jose Barrios, Zach Greinke, and Dallas Keuchel.
Yep.
Catchers, Martin Maldonado, Sean Murphy, and Salvador Perez. First base, Yuli Gurriel, Matt Olson, and Jared Walsh. Second base, David Fletcher, Whit Merrifield, and Marcus Semien. Third base, Matt Chapman, of course, Jose Ramirez, and Joey Wendell. Shortstop, Carlos Correa, Astros, J.P. Crawford, Mariners, woo! And Belton Simmons. Left field, Randy Arozarena, Andrew Benintendi, Lourdes Gurriel Jr., who, by the way, has the best hair in baseball, just so everybody knows. Center field, we have center field, we have Kevin Kiermaier, Miles Straw, Michael A. Taylor, and right field, Hunter Renfroe, Kyle Tucker, and Joey Gallo of your New York Yankees.
Okay, I'm going to go through the National League. That's just the American League, by the way. The National League pitching is Zach Davies, Max Fried, and Zach Wheeler. A pair of Zachs there. Catcher will be Yadi Molina, JT Realmuto, and Jacob Stallings. First base, Freddie Freeman, Paul Goldschmidt, Max Muncy, even with the injury. That's fantastic. Second base, Ozzy Albies, Tommy Edman, and Colton Wong. Third base, Nolan Arenado, Manny Machado, Ryan McMahon, Colorado Rockies there. Shortstop, Brandon Crawford, Francisco Lindor, and Kevin Newman. Left field, Tyler O'Neill, David Peralta, A.J. Pollock. Center field, Harrison Bader, Brian Reynolds, Jackie Bradley Jr. And right field, Mookie Betts, Adam Duvall, and Mike Yastrzemski.
Very cool. Is there anybody you feel like was left off either of those lists, Brig?
Gary Sanchez? No.
Brig's got jokes for those of you who don't know.
I just got to throw out the anti-Homer comment here and there, just so you know I'm keeping it real. Okay, I understand.
There you go.
I understand. I see it. I'm not totally indoctrinated. No, it's a pretty good list. I love seeing Benintendi on this list, actually. Mm-hmm. He's traded away from his home, and it was kind of like, what? And now he's back in a Gold Glove finalist position with a team that's really struggled, and it's not – Andrew Benintendi is not a finalist for this award because he's the token Royals guy. Because he's a terrific outfielder.
Yep.
So I love seeing this. I think it's great. I'm a little shocked to see Joey Gallo on there. I don't think it's misplaced. I'm just shocked, right? It's like, wow, fabulous. But
I will say this about Joey Gallo, though, that I watched more Joey Gallo play this season than I have the last several.
Yeah.
And he's a way better outfielder than I thought he was.
Oh, no, Duke can play baseball for sure.
Yeah.
He's ball and he struggles just like everybody else. But again, Max Muncy, I brought that up earlier. Seeing him on the list with all the time he spent off the field still is fantastic.
Well, he had a career year this year. He was an all-star.
Yeah.
He was considered a really big blow when he went down with an injury. So yeah, I mean, good for him having a career year. The only guy who wasn't on this list who I would have liked to have seen was and it's a homer pick, it's Ty France in Seattle. He had literally only had one error the entire season.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I read somewhere over the last week that the reason he wasn't was because of some advanced metric about range. He doesn't have much range, which is they don't ask him to because everybody else in the Mariners infield has range. So,
yeah.
But anyway,
interesting.
So, but I will say this: Jared Walsh is a great first baseman. Matt Olson is a tremendous first baseman. Yuli Gurriel, unfortunately, is also a tremendous first baseman.
He's great, man. He's
all
so
three
good.
of those guys coming from the AL West.
Yep.
So some good infield defense in the AL West. But
super strong.
Yes. Let's go on to Silver Sluggers.
Okay.
Do you want to do the American League this time? I'll do the National
League. Yeah, sure. So the American League, we have first base Vlad Guerrero Jr., Yuli Gurriel, and Matt Olson. Second base Marcus Semien, Jose Altuve, DJ LeMahieu, and Jorge Polanco. There's 4 in that category.
Interesting.
Third base Raphael Davis, Jose Ramirez, and Kyle Seager of your Seattle Mariners.
Formerly of my Seattle Mariners.
Well, yeah. So shortstop Carlos Correa, Xander Bogaerts, Tim Anderson, and Bo Bichette. Also a 4-banger there. Outfielders. This is just across the board outfielders. Cedric Mullins, Teoscar Hernandez, Aaron Judge, Kyle Tucker, Mitch Haniger, Lourdes Gurriel Jr., Hunter Renfroe, and Randy Arozarena. Razzie. We should call him that from now on. Razzie.
Yes, he is.
Catcher Salvador Perez, Mike Zunino, Gary Sanchez. There he is.
There he is.
Designated hitters, again, across the board. Shohei Ohtani, interesting. Jordan Alvarez, Giancarlo Stanton, Joey Gallo, and Nelson Cruz.
Excellent. National League, we have first base.
The Yankees showed up for those.
The Yankees did show up, and you would expect that, honestly, with the Silver Slugger.
Bombs. That's it.
All right, for the National League at first base, we've got Freddie Freeman, Joey Votto, Paul Goldschmidt, and Max Muncy. Again, Max Muncy with a career year. Not surprised to see him on that list.
Love it.
Second base, Ozzy Albies, Jonathan India, Jake Cronenworth, and Justin Turner. It's weird to see him at second base since that's not his position.
100%.
Right?
Yep.
So weird. Third base, Austin Riley, Manny Machado, Nolan Arenado, Patrick Wisdom. Shortstop, Fernando Tatis Jr., Brandon Crawford, Trey Turner, Willie Adames. I wonder if Trey Turner and Justin Turner got switched. If Justin Turner's supposed to be, I don't know.
Third baseman. No, he's a third baseman, Justin Turner.
Yeah, and Trey Turner's a second baseman. And then
I don't know.
Got Corey Seager playing shortstop. That's weird.
That's weird.
Anyway. All right, outfield across the board, we got Juan Soto, Nick Castellanos, Bryce Harper, Brian Reynolds, Adam Duvall, Jesse Winker, and Tyler O'Neill. For catchers, we've got Buster Posey, Will Smith, JT Realmuto, and Omar Narvaez. And pitchers, Herman Marquez, Max Fried, Jacob deGrom, and Madison Bumgarner. I have to say real quick, in the American League, I'm very happy to see Mike Zunino on there because I'm a big Zunino fan. I was pulling hard for him in Seattle. I know, catcher, but yeah. I pulled hard for him in Seattle. I really wanted to see him succeed because I saw him have a ton of success in AAA. Like I saw him hit a ball out of Smith's ballpark, Brig, out of it to the street.
Right. Safe light repair, safe light replace.
Yes, exactly. You're right.
You don't pay me to say that.
But anyway, so he's a guy I really wanted to see succeed, and the Mariners traded him away for some pretty good pieces. I'm glad that he's having some success in Tampa Bay, although he's still like a bomber strikeout guy. But anyway,
it's true.
But I think Salvador Perez is going to get that though because of the record
for sure.
So
for sure.
Is there anybody on the list that surprises you, Brig, at all? Anywhere in there?
Well, I'm always surprised to see that Raphael Davis is as good a ball player as he actually is.
Those Cabbage Patch cheeks don't weigh him down.
Patch cheeks. No, he's such a good baseball player, and it just bugs me. But I think it just is. He's so good, and I think that's why it bugs me. I love it watching him play baseball as long as they don't put the camera on his face, but it's fine.
Yeah.
There's my homerism coming through. But anyway, no, I'm not surprised by any of this. All of this makes perfect sense other than the nuances that we have already brought up. Everything else is great.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like you could just go down the list and like the first guy in every position is like who's going to win it. And then the first three listed in the outfield are going to win it. Like Cedric Mullins, Teoscar Hernandez, and Aaron Judge are going to be the outfielders. Juan Soto, Nick Castellanos, and Bryce Harper are going to win in the National League. That it's just straight down the list, honestly, is what it feels like to me with these guys.
No. These are all-star lineups right here. This one's not complicated.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay,
let's take a quick break. Do we have more?
We have two things.
Oh, yeah, actually, that's right. I'm so sorry.
Go one. Let's just go to one. One thing here. So PETA, Brig.
Okay.
PETA has decided to insert themselves into the World Series and make it about them. So
taking a page out of A-Rod's book.
Yes, exactly. So they released this. I have it. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm so ready.
So it's PETA's call to the bullpen, rename outdated term arm barn. So this is from New York. It says, as the World Series turns into a pitching duel, PETA is pitching a proposal to the baseball world. strike out the word bullpen, which references the holding area where terrified bulls are kept before slaughter, in favor of a more modern, animal-friendly term. PETA suggestion, the arm barn. And it goes on to say things like that, like words matter, and we understand that words matter. That's fine.
Sure. We're all about that.
And they talk about how it's like they go in graphic detail and to really persuade people to want to use the term arm barn, right? But honestly, it's ridiculous. Who cares?
Yes.
At least it's not a derog. I mean, here's the thing: baseball is taking steps to remove derogatory terms regarding people. I understand animals are animals, like we have our pets, we love them and everything, but also animals are food. I love a cheeseburger, so I'm not going to be calling the bullpen the arm barn unless it's as an ironic joke.
Which we will be doing, because very, very soon, if not by the time you're listening to this, you can jump on our shop at 9plusus.com and get your very own arm barn t-shirt.
You sure can.
Just saying.
It's there. It's there. So go check it out.
Now.
In fact, Brig, let's put a link in the doobly-doo. Should we put a discount code attached to it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we should. For all our friends that something of animals. People
for the ethical treatment of animals.
There you go.
There we go.
That's who
that
they
is
are.
Our PETA shirt is the arm barn shirt. For those of you who are curious, go check it out. There's a link in the doobly-doo for you. And with that, we're going to take a quick break and come back and talk about the World Series.
No. The World Series.
You're right.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I never get back with me. Root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Shop kids' baseball shirts at 9plusus.com.
The Another Sports Podcast is the home of sports talk for everyone. Every other week, you can catch David and Jason as they talk about all things sports, from current events to classic moments and everything in between. You can find the Another Sports Podcast on Anchor.fm, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Podcast Addict, and more. Please don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review.
Welcome back, baseball family. We're really excited to talk to you about the World Series. And ladies and gentlemen, if you are not referring to it as the World Series when you're talking to your friends about it or family members, and you're doing it wrong. I spent all weekend indoctrinating a great number of children, not during Halloween, but just at the family party. I was like, listen, this is how you have to say it. So pardon us if we haven't done it that way forever, and now that's the standard response. That's the appropriate way to go about it. Okay, let's recap the Fall Classic, which you can say normally. You don't have to. There's no theatrics if you say the Fall Classic. That's okay. All right, here we go. Brad.
Yeah. So
tell me, has this been as exciting a baseball for you as it has been for me? That's the first question.
No, probably only because I haven't gotten to watch very much of it. Wilson had baseball games during games last week, and we were at trick-or-treating parties and trick-or-treating during games. So I caught games late when they were mostly decided. In fact, when Jorge Soler hit that second home run to put the Braves up 3-2 the other day,
holy moly,
that happened literally right before I turned the game on.
Oh,
like because like we stream everything on our Apple TV, so it was like booting up, getting ready to go, getting into the app and everything when that home run was hit because I was following on my phone.
Right.
But yeah, so I mean, I understand the excitement. Like I get it. They've been great games to follow, but I haven't gotten to experience it the way that I wanted to. So I'm evaluating whether or not we're going to play fall ball next year just because of the timing of the season.
That's fair.
So
that's fair. And I got to be honest with you. The reason I asked you that question is because I do not think you're alone. I think there are a lot of people out there who experience the World Series the same way you do. And, you know, you're checking your phone here and there, and you've got your kids, and they're more important than the Fall Classic. They just are. So you saw that. They come first. Family comes first. That's just the way it goes, right? And trick-or-treating is a priority. And so, you know, if that's your situation, I needed you to know that Brad is in the same situation. Don't feel bad. It's okay. Baseball hopefully will always be there for us, and it's okay. We can always get it next year and come back around. But your kids are never going to be that age ever again, and that's what I keep telling myself.
Yep, absolutely, 100%. Brig, you're spot on with that. That's perfect. I love it. So there were some interesting things that came out this week about the World Series. So the first one here, I want to go into this because this is, to me, what makes baseball the best professional sport. Like when it comes down to it, this is it. Is that people say that one of the things they love the most in sports is parody. Not like parody, haha, but parody as in like distribution of talent and success across the league, right? People like the underdog story. They like to see the teams that haven't won win. So this is super cool. We saw a graphic that said that Major League Baseball is the only league of the Big Four to not have repeat champions in the last 20 years.
20 years, yeah.
Like at all since we've gone into this millennium. And with that, additionally, we've seen half of MLB's franchises, 15 of the 30, win World Series, and only 3 of those franchises have multiple titles. And again, no repeat champions. This is a big deal.
It is a big deal.
So baseball family, I sent this to Brig this week. And I said, I'm curious how this stacks up with the rest of like the major professional sports. So today I had some time to kill, and I pulled up the NFL. Since 2000, 13 franchises in the NFL have won the Super Bowl. But while that's 2 less than Major League Baseball, there are 2 more teams in the NFL than there are in Major League Baseball. There are 32 teams in the NFL.
That's right.
So a lower percentage there. And you've actually had I guess the only team to go back-to-back during that time is the Patriots, which we expect because that's just the way that goes.
Well,
but
we've all lived through it, so.
Yes. And they went back-to-back about 15 years ago, but they've had plenty of chances where they were the AFC team to go. They won every other year, you know, kind of like a Giants kind of thing. And then I wanted to look at the NBA, see how the NBA has been. Since 2000, only 10 teams. Again, another league that has 30 teams. That is only 1/3 of the NBA that has won a title. The Lakers have gone. They started out the century with a 3-peat, and then they repeated, and then you had the Heat who repeated, and the Warriors repeated. So that's 1, 2, 3. That's 4. Count of 4 repeats.
Wow.
And yeah, like I said, only 10 teams have won an NBA Finals championship during that time. And the NHL, I wanted to go in. So the NHL did not have a season in 2005. I believe they had a strike or a lockout. And either way, it was a work stoppage. There was no season in 2005. But 12 teams have won the Stanley Cup in that time. And I believe there are 30 or 32 NHL teams. I know the NHL is growing, but I'm really not a big hockey fan, so I don't know off the top of my head. But anyway, 15 in baseball with only 3 teams repeating is a big deal. So for those of you who might be on the fence, this is a reason to watch baseball, because there is somewhat more of a competitive balance, I feel like, in baseball than there is in any other sport. And a lot of those teams, all they have to do is get in. We saw it with the Nats 2 years ago. And they can make a run. So,
well, and
it's
the
a big
Nats
deal.
2 years ago, not only did they make a run, but that series was amazing. I was talking to somebody else about this weekend. Nobody in that series won a home game.
Yes, exactly.
They won
Which brings me
all away games.
perfect segue, Brig, because that actually brings me to my next point. So the Braves are up 3-2 right now, right? And the Astros feel like they have a lot of the momentum. They're going home, but at the same time, they lost the series, losing back-to-back games at home in 2019 to the Nats
against the Nationals.
They can only lose one of the next two. So,
well, and that's what I said. I said 6. I can see 7, but I'm seeing 6. My vote is 6. And then I told everybody they only need to win 1 in Houston of the opening series, that opening sequence of 2 games, and they did. So I feel like I'm right on track. Now I'm going to knock on wood, rub my rabbit's foot, and spin around on my left foot and pat my head and rub my tummy at the same time. But that's just, it feels good. Like, I know the last 2 games were bullpen games. They split the difference between the 2. I understand. I expected more of Atlanta from game 4 than I saw. Game 5. I expected more out of game 5 than I saw. But it just was what it was. And I'm not upset necessarily, because it was such great baseball.
Right. Yes, it was. And we were headed to another neighborhood to go trick-or-treating, and I saw on my phone that they had hit that grand slam. And I was like, oh dang. I was like, we saw what happened when they give up early grand slams to the Red Sox. Like,
yes,
there was no looking back. But they buckled down when they needed to, because those weren't elimination games. Those other games, they ended up just being throwaways. So it didn't end up being that big of a deal. But I don't know if the Astros have another offensive explosion in them for 9 runs.
It's pretty remarkable. So, and we've seen the Astros score huge all season long, right? They have big scoring games.
Yes, one of the best offensive teams in the bigs,
if not the very best, which we have to acknowledge. And the Braves defensively are phenomenal, except for Dansby. Dansby's kind of struggling right now, and it's a little bit of a dude. Listen, my dad texted me. He's like, "Are you kidding me? 2 in a row." I think it was during Game 3. He was like, 2 in a row. Dansby Swanson, are you flipping? Can we get him out of there? At defensive issues, right? He was so mad, and I don't blame him. I was mad too. But the thing that's going on is that they have a great pitching staff. Like, it's a phenomenal pitching staff, and this is what we predicted, people. We said, look, it was going to be a immovable object up against what did you call it? I don't know what the science is.
An immovable object against an unstoppable force.
That's what it is. That's what we have.
Yeah.
And it's so good. It is so good. So I still expect the Braves to win. Absolutely. But it could go down to Game 7. It really could. It's going to depend on pitching. It always goes down to pitching. But I think that for me, I still think the Braves can pull it out, especially some of their big, heavy starters now have some rest.
Yeah. So have Max Fried going up against Luis Garcia in Game 6.
That's right.
So that's going to be a heck of a game.
That's right. That's today.
And it's all going to depend, I feel like, with this game, how long Dusty Baker lets Garcia go. Because Kendall Graveman was great Sunday night. Got 6 outs. He's got a day's rest to come back for Game 6. But other than him, like the bullpen hasn't been outstanding.
They're good. They're not good. Bad. But,
right,
but are they world champion good? I know.
I don't think
you know what? Let me bring up the other issue of the Astros offense. The only issue they have is that everybody follows Altuve. If he's hot, everybody's hot. If he's cold, everybody's cold. And it's so weird.
It is that he will set the entire the tone for the entire game by getting on base or not. And it is weird. It is weird.
It's so weird. But he's a leadoff guy. That's his part of his job, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. But something else that could be an issue for the Braves going forward is that Charlie Morton is out. For those of you who didn't see, he fractured his fibula on a comebacker. I think it was like 100 miles an hour off the bat, off of Jose Altuve's bat.
Yeah.
And he went and pitched 2 more batters, right?
Right.
So now you think broken leg, like, oh my gosh, it was dangling. No, your fibula, for those of you who don't know, the fibula is a non-weight bearing bone. So you can technically walk with a broken fibula, but it is still difficult to pitch because it's incredibly painful.
Yes.
That's how that works. So he
you.
can finish the inning, but he is not going to be pitching again.
No, he's done. All that adrenaline and all the swelling and everything, it's over.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Yep. Yeah.
But
so
to his credit, what a heroic performance.
I would put that above the
bloody sock. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now, okay, hold on, Brad. You for those of you listening, Brad had huge air quotes with bloody sock.
I'm just kidding. I don't think it was ketchup.
Oh, are you sure, Brad? Because that sounded an awful lot like real skepticism.
I'm sure it was blood. Who was it? Somebody the other day said, I think it might have been Charlie Morton, said that he's not going to insert himself into the storyline by putting ketchup on his sock.
That's exactly what he said. And then somebody else came after Schilling for the same thing. And Schilling said, I still have it. You want to test it? I'll give you $1 million if you're wrong. But I want $1 million if I'm right.
So funny.
I was like, were we? And of course, we're still talking about this, but because it's iconic, right? That's the way
it is. It's a big deal.
Anyway.
And the ketchup thing to me is freaking hilarious. Like, that's so funny. Like, yeah,
sure.
dude, I saw him put ketchup on the sock to go out there and like rally the troops. No, he didn't. That's not true.
No. But thank you for trying to be a money grabber in the moment. That's wonderful.
Yes, exactly. So we did see a first, and not an absolute first, but a first in a very long time, nearly 100 years. Zach Greinke goes in and pinch hits the other night. Successfully. Hey, Silver Slugger nominee, right? Silver Slugger.
That's
finalist.
What I'm saying.
I mean, why not? Right?
I'm just saying I guess not
he's
just
not
that he
because
pinch hit. He pinch hit successfully.
Yeah, and I guess he's not a Silver Slugger. He's a Gold Glove finalist.
Yeah,
but
okay.
Not
but he should be Silver Slugger, right?
But anyway, so he's the first pitcher to record a pinch hit base hit since 1923.
Mm-hmm.
How is that for a baseball stat? At least in the World Series.
The World Series.
The first pitcher to get a pinch hit base hit in the World Series after the date of October 2nd with a waning crescent moon since 1923.
What is he, a Scorpio? What's happening?
Now I'm curious. I don't know.
That's fabulous. Go to Baseball Reference. They got to have his zodiac sign there. Do they not?
I do think it's on there. We're going to find out right now.
I think it really is on there. Oh, baseball family, for those of you who don't know, Brad and I, and by that I mean I, have recently learned a lot about the zodiac stuff, and it's super fun, super interesting. So that's the only reason I'm teasing him about it. I have to poke you about it, Brad.
Well, I don't know like what exactly the zodiac is, but he just turned 38 11 days ago. So
he's a Scorpio.
Birthday to Zach. Okay,
he's a Scorpio.
There you go.
I told you.
There you go. So he's the first, might be the first Scorpio to get a pinch hit base hit as a pitcher in the World Series after October 2nd with a waning crescent moon and Neptune in retrograde. There you go.
I don't think we have to say anything more about that. That just buttoned it up real nice.
It did.
That's hardcore coverage right there.
I do have one more interesting thing for you though, Brig. A numbers thing. So Game 5, the final score was 9-5, right? I can't think off the top of my head now. I don't know.
I think it was 9-5.
Yeah, it was not 9-5. That is
like
the
that Dolly
first
Parton
game.
song, working 9 to 5.
There you go. The first game in this series where one of the teams did not end the game with only 2 runs.
What? Say that again.
Okay, so in games 1 through 4, one of the teams ended the game with only 2 runs. So game 1, it's loading my computer. Oh, so here we go. So 6-2, 7-2, 2-0, 3-2, and then game 5 was 9-5.
9-5. Yeah.
That's
weird.
Was interesting. I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that yesterday, and I thought it was really interesting because that grand slam was like, well, either this series is over or this is going to be the first time one of the teams doesn't end the game with 2 runs.
So I literally said that to the people I was sitting there with. They hit the grand slam at first, and I said, that might very well be the ball game, ladies and gentlemen. Like, because in Atlanta, up against that with no DH, you literally, I mean, had it not been a bullpen game, gone, over with, done.
Yeah. Yep.
It very well could have been. That could have been. That's the Braves' MO, right? Low scoring games. They go up 4. You're like, what? 4 is unprecedented. That's how it felt.
Yeah, and it did feel like it was over right then. I was like, they might get an insurance run later, but this game's over. Was the way
That's
I felt.
That's how I felt. I really did feel that way. Yeah.
So let's go into some trends and predictions here. Like we saw that trend that if the Braves win, it's generally been relatively low scoring. The Astros have had 2 times now where they've kind of, I don't want to say they exploded, but 9 runs is an offensive explosion.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So, I mean, do you see another one of those, Brig? Because I think that's what it's going to take from them. They're going to have to score a bunch of runs.
I think they stand a better chance of doing that in Atlanta or in Houston than anywhere else. So
yeah,
I do see it being possible for sure. But I think that will push us to a game 7. I think it's going to happen. They're going to ride some of this momentum. They're going to it's all going to explode in game 6 if it's going to happen. And then we'll end up in game 7. And I still feel like the Braves are going to pull it out. I really do.
I do too.
But I think the Braves are going to pull it out today, whatever it is.
I agree because I think Max Fried is going to shut him down. Honestly,
but so will Garcia.
Garcia will too. But I think this is going to be the difference. I think that the Braves lineup, the offensive side of the ball, they're going to be patient enough that they can work Garcia. And like I said, it's going to depend on whether or not Dusty Baker is going to let him go beyond 100 pitches.
That's right.
You know, if he gets to the 4th or 5th inning and he says, okay, we got to bring in Graveman for middle relief now. And I don't know if you do bring in Graveman for middle relief, because if you do that, you don't have him later in the game.
Right.
You bring in Presley and you could have some issues. So it'll be interesting. It really, to me, it's going to come down how Dusty Baker manages his pitching staff. The Braves are way better in the bullpen, front to back. That's not so much going to be an issue for me. That if those Houston bats are clicking, they're going to click against anybody.
Yep.
Within that Atlanta can throw at them.
I agree.
Atlanta can get going late in the game against the bullpen, and that could be trouble for Houston.
I feel exactly the same way. So for me, it's all I think they've seen Garcia enough now, Atlanta has, that they'll be like, okay, all right, we know what he's doing. He's throwing low every time. I mean, you look at this guy, he throws low. Almost every single pitch is outside the zone low. Yeah. And to me, it just takes just a hair more plate discipline to overcome that. And yes, he's going to goose you a couple of times for sure. He's going to catch on to what you're doing. And then the mind game is at play, but that's professional baseball, ladies and gentlemen. That's the way
baseball in general. The mind
game. That's the way it goes. It's the best. It's the best part of the whole game is the mind game between pitcher and batter. So I think that's going to be at play in game 6 for sure.
Yeah. I would not be surprised to see Atlanta wrap it up in game 6. Not even a little bit. But on the other hand, I mean, I do feel like if Houston scores 4 runs, they're going to win.
You think it'll only take 4?
I think it'll only take 4. Yeah.
I was going to say 5. I think that if they breach 5, then we're have a problem.
Yeah. Do you think Atlanta could score 5 runs against Garcia in the bullpen?
Yeah. No.
So first to 5 runs.
Not against Garcia.
Well, against the bullpen though.
Yeah.
So
5 runs all night long. The first 1 to 5, I think, is going to win the ball game.
Yeah, first 5. Okay. I'm going to say first to 4 for me.
Okay. All right.
So those are fun.
What happens if I'm right?
I'm not doing another pie to the face.
Well, come on. You seem to love betting against me, man. You seem to love it.
I know. I might need to take the rest of the season off, regroup, and then we'll start up again in the spring training.
You come on. Your kid Wilson wants so bad.
He does.
You in the face.
So
I would love to
let's recap this real quick. In fact, I'm going to put it up over this as we talk right now on YouTube.
Okay.
So we had that bet. Whichever of our teams did not make the postseason, we would take a pie in the face. The Yankees made the wild card game, so Brig was off the hook. Well, the Mariners got eliminated, so I had to take a pie to the face. My son Wilson loves doing it. He's all about hitting me in the face with the pie, and he legitimately pushed the pie into my face, pulled it out, and looked at me and goes, "Dad, when can we do this again?" Next time I lose a bet to Brig. When's that going to be?
Yeah, he asked, when's that going to be?
Not for a little while.
Well, I was there for one of them, and it was fabulous. There was whipped cream all over the place.
Yeah, that one did get everywhere. He's a little bit softer on this one, but yeah, that first one was pretty rough, right in the face.
The first one, he came at you hard. I think he even came at you twice, didn't he? If I
remember
did, right?
Yeah, he pulled it and then got me again with it. But the damage was done, so it didn't really matter.
Oh man, I didn't put him up to it. By the way, he just
he knows the drill. He knows how it works.
Oh, he's so dang cool.
He is. He's a cool kid. We have a lot of fun. But let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and wrap things up, Brig, so that if people are watching or listening late, they can get back to the World Series.
World Series.
The World Series.
Thank you, Brad. Baseball family, for those of you watching on YouTube and even those of you listening, we're really excited to let you know about our shop that's at 9plusus.com. It's NINEPLUS.com, 9plusus.com. I am drinking out of my Baseball Together mug, as you can see here on YouTube, which is my favorite mug ever. I'm wearing my Home of the Brave hat, camouflage with a home plate and an American flag inlay. Baseball things in honor of Halloween. And Brad's got his legendary t-shirt on, his Legends t-shirt. You know, heroes get remembered, but legends never die is a thing. And what hat are you wearing tonight, Brad?
It's my perfect hat.
Your perfect hat. That's such a perfect hat. Would you look at it?
It is so perfect.
Just look at it. It's so perfect.
Sometimes
anyway, baseball family, jump on the shop, 9plusus.com. We are going to, obviously, like we've let you know, our Arm Barn t-shirt is available. You can get 15% off with a discount code that is available in the doobly-doo, and we will absolutely let you know what that is. Why don't we just call it Barn 15?
Barn 15. There we go.
Barn 15 is going to be the discount code. Baseball family, get on there, grab it. It's available in black for obvious reasons, and keeping it simple today. So anyway, with that, to you, Brad.
Absolutely. I love it. I'm excited for this new t-shirt. I'm excited for, we have so much more stuff coming, and it's so exciting. Yeah. We kind of hit the pause button on stuff for a while, but we got a lot more stuff coming. But anyway, don't forget to like, subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. Subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on whatever app you listen on. We would appreciate that. And also leave us a review if you can. Most likely only on Apple Podcasts. If you can, head over there and leave us a review. That would be greatly appreciated. But also, if you have time, head over to baseballtogether.com. If you want to watch the podcast there, you can listen to the podcast there as well. And drop us a note in the mailbag. There's a link in the navigation on baseballtogether.com. There's a link in the description of every episode to submit to the mailbag or leave us a voicemail, whichever you prefer. But baseball family, with that, enjoy the end of the World Series. We're going to wrap it all up next week, and we'll catch you then.